What is up, everyone, and welcome to my first ever mic'd up leg session. This is actually going to be a mic'd up session. The last video that I posted obviously was not a mic'd up session, even though I planned on it. But yeah, today is a leg day. It's actually Super Bowl Sunday today, which hopefully means the gym is going to be quite empty. It's 3 o'clock right now on the dot. Well, now it's 3:01, or maybe it'll be super busy if everyone tries to get in their workout right before the Super Bowl. I guess I'll just have to see what happens. But if it's so busy where it's like, I guess, affecting like my tripod placement and my ability to record, I mean, I guess you'll never end up seeing this car session. As per usual, I'm still not training squats or deadlifts, unfortunately. My back isn't 100%, but it's definitely better than it was. It doesn't really hurt. When I get into like a deep squat, or when I get into a kind of a hip hinge movement with a lot of weight, it puts a little bit of pressure on my spine where I feel like I don't really want to mess with it right now. So I'm still kind of playing it easy on leg days, right? The only thing I'm doing for quads right now is just the leg extension sissy squat lunge superset. I did actually add in, as you'll see in my workout, another glute exercise, which I think one of the reasons why my low back had a little bit of pain was because I never trained glutes. You know, I store all my fat in my butt, and I didn't want my glutes to get any bigger, so I never trained them. And I think because of that, my posterior chain was pretty weak, my glutes were weak, my hip flexors were tight, caused maybe a little bit of an anterior pelvic tilt, put some stress on my low back. So I started training them, and it's gotten better. So hopefully we'll roll with that for another month or see how it goes, and then we'll get back to pendulum squatting and leg pressing and RDLing. That's the plan. I have a really nice hack squat at my gym, but doing all of those, you know, a hack squat, a pendulum squat, leg press, RDL, trying to throw it all in one program, I think is just too much. So I have a nice leg press. Pendulum squat is just better than a hack squat, so might as well just keep the pendulum in there. We'll see how that goes a little bit in the future, and then the bulk continues until 2025. I guess let's just get in the gym and see how many people are there. So I did forget to mention that I'm actually not taking pre-workout on my bulk. Obviously I was taking it during my cut, but now that I'm bulking again, I'm just cycling off caffeine. So the only thing I do before my workout is just the sodium, potassium, and then I have a couple of Sour Patch Kids to cleanse the palate because the sodium potassium is absolutely disgusting. But I already did my warm-up sets here. I did 2 warm-up sets just because it's a hamstring curl. I mean, you don't really need to warm up that much. A couple people here, but honestly, it's like normal, so nothing crazy. I don't know what it is with that exercise, but when I start struggling, my legs just start wobbling like crazy. One thing I do want to mention is when you're doing this exercise, obviously you want to drive your hips down so that you're not getting a lot of, lumbar extension, especially on the way up, because, that'll just place a lot of stress on your lower back. Instead of actually using your hamstrings, you're kind of just curling your lower back, making the exercise easier. So you really want to drive those hips into the pad, especially on the way up, so that you can actually use your hamstrings. Obviously, it's a hamstring movement. You want your hamstrings to work. So yeah, I always do some partials there just to finish off the hamstrings. Hamstrings are one of those muscles where it's just so easy at the lengthen position, and it gets so difficult at the end. So might as well throw in some partials. So it is time for the worst time of the week. Leg extensions, sissy squats. Thankfully, the first set I do actually here, I don't do the lunges, mainly because if you do the lunges, don't expect to do any quad movements for the next hour. This leg extension is super, super light. I need to get a gym pin so that I can actually add weight. I need to get a very good song on now because I'm not hyped up right now. I'm not hyped up. This set is gonna stink. Oh, fuck me. This is pain. This is pain. Holy fuck. I'm just so out of breath. All right, set number 2. It's been a good at least 8 minutes since that first set. My quads are still on fire, but I think I have enough rest where I can actually hit another good set. Ah, fuck, my phone's down there. Fuck, do we put hard style on? Nope. Ow, ow, ow. Oh, it's over for me. It's over. What's the point? There's no point. This does not feel good. All this 104 times a year. For what? 2 pounds? 2 pounds of muscle growth? I might have pooped my pants. But I think I'm all right. It's been at least, I don't know, 12 minutes since those lunges. I see a lot of guys with this machine lean forward, which is totally fine. Obviously you get more of a stretch, but in my personal opinion, for some reason, I just don't feel as locked in. I don't feel as sturdy. So I always push myself against the seat, which, you know, obviously you don't get as much of a stretch, but since your hips are already flexed because you're sitting down, you're already getting, you know, a ton of length in position. So just this extra lengthening obviously is beneficial, but if you don't feel sturdy, if you don't feel locked in, then push yourself against the seat, right? I mean, it's kind of just preference. It doesn't make too much of a difference. I've literally only done 2 exercises. What am I doing? Not bad. So ideally when it comes to hamstrings, you don't really want to do a lying and a seated on the same day, mainly because they pretty much work the same thing, right? You're just flexing your knee. You're not really doing anything different. Sure, you get a little bit more length in position on a seated as opposed to a lying. Maybe today I would have done an RDL in lying, and then next day I probably would have just done a seated. And instead of doing, you know, my other exercise probably would have been a quad movement, like a leg press or something. But obviously because I'm not RDLing, I'm not squatting, I'm just doing two hamstring exercises, which is just 4 sets per workout. So that is a good lesson on what partials should look like. A lot of people, when they do partials, once they can't bring the weight all the way down and get that full range of motion, they just do little baby reps, you know, 4 or 5 baby reps. Partials aren't just baby reps. Partials are pushing as hard as you possibly can, but being limited because you just can't possibly push any further. You don't intentionally stop and do little baby reps. You're only doing these partials because you can't do any more. So just one set here for the adductor, abductor. Also, quick tip, if you ever have trouble getting in and out of this machine, instead of, you know, sitting down and trying to adjust it while you're sitting, adjust the hips before you sit in it so that you can actually like wiggle your way in and your range of motion isn't limited because you can't get your legs all the way out, if that makes sense. And you know, you'll see when I get out, you can kind of just use your hands to lower the weight back. Straight into hip abduction. Good enough. I could probably do a lot more. You know, that wasn't really failure, but I don't feel like doing it anymore. All right, fellas, I do actually train calves. In fact, I think my calves have grown a decent amount recently, but I think the ideal build, if you look at someone like Baki, who's obviously, you know, not a real person, but he's got super big calves and like not too big of quads. And I think that's the most aesthetic build, where your quads aren't too big. They're just big enough to where your upper body isn't like disproportionate to your overall physique, but they're not like goofy looking build, like a fucking supervillain comic book character. You know, when you're I think when it comes to training calves, it's just literally how much you can fucking take. The bottom range of motion is definitely the most controversial, what's the word? Beneficial part of the movement, which is why you want to pause right at the bottom. Number one, you eliminate that stretch reflex, so you're not just springing up with your Achilles tendon, you're actually doing the work with your calves. So this used to be the last set of the workout, but obviously I'm doing glutes after this, which just prolongs the workout even further. I mean, I've only done like 10 sets total. I mean, well, if you count the leg extension set, the big triple drop set, if you count that as one set, which technically it's, you know, 3 sets plus, you know, I did that, you know, 5 sets total, but you know, whatever, no one's counting. Well, I mean, technically I am counting, but no one cares, man. Ouchie. Man, that feels so good now that I'm done. Like during the actual set, it just sucks. But once you finish, like right now, it doesn't even hurt at all. So just doing one set here on the glute drive machine. If you're not doing any RDL or if you're not doing any squat, it's probably a smart thing to train your glutes directly, especially since they're an extremely important muscle in the posterior chain. What's up? I mean, it's not like I didn't train hard, right? It's not like it was an easy set, but definitely not to failure. I probably had, I don't know, at least another 5 in the tank. So it's not really ideal for muscle growth, but let's be honest, the glutes should not get any bigger than they are now. So that is it for the leg day. Now, I could lie and say that, you know, I didn't want to record my post-workout pump because, you know, there were too many people in the locker room. But in all seriousness, you know, I didn't want to record it because the only thing pumped up by the end of my workout were my glutes and my calves. And I'm not fucking going in the locker room and stripping my pants off to show you my glutes and my calves. So there will be no post-workout pump. But yeah, it was a good workout. I think it was a fun mic'd up session. So, you know, I think I'm going to start posting a lot more of these mic'd up sessions because number one, they're fun to record and I know a lot of you guys like them. And I think, well, actually, those are the only 2 reasons. Yeah, I guess let's just go home because the Super Bowl... What is that? Hopefully this car doesn't break down on the middle of the road. But yeah, it is 5:19, as you can see. It is 5:19. And the Super Bowl, I believe, is in like 1 hour, and my parents want to watch it. I'm not a huge football fan, but, you know, it's always fun to watch the game. My prediction for this Super Bowl, you will not be seeing this part of the video if I get it wrong. But if it happens to be right, then I'm the coolest guy on earth. I'm going to say 25-22. The Chiefs are going to win with a 3-yard touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes in overtime. That's my prediction. As you can see, it is 5:20, February 11th. The Super Bowl has not been played yet. But yeah, I guess to avoid this video being longer than 30 minutes, let's just cut it here. I just ran almost a red light. It was still yellow. It was still yellow. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys.